You're watching Lansdowne Roar, the voice of the fans. I'm Martin Prendergast, joined by Conor McAvoy for the midweek roundup on all things Irish football. How you getting on, Conor? You well?
I'm good. It's good to be back on. It's actually happy Halloween to everyone because it actually is Halloween when this is going to be released. So it's good to be back on and ready to go for another what you'd say exciting week of football. There's League of Ireland ends tomorrow for when this will be released, which will be a good final day of the season. And yeah, the weather's horrendous, but we'll survive. But how you doing?
Yeah, all good, thanks. Yeah, and we've got a bit of a nightmare news and keep the theme for Halloween with
Yeah.
breaking news this evening that Evan Ferguson is out of the Ireland squads basically because he's picked up an injury that's going to keep him out for 2 weeks. Conor, very disappointing news, that isn't it? First one straight in there. There he is. Happened very early in the match. I didn't catch it. You told me a bit off camera about it, but yeah. So what happened?
Yeah, I was buzzing yesterday. At what was time? It was about 4:30 late for the game at 5:30, and I was thinking, "Oh, lovely, going to get to see Evan playing," because I was like, "I have a feeling he's going to play well." Because Gasparini praised him actually last week, saying he trained well, and he was look back, maybe he was back to full fitness. And I sat down in front of the TV at 5:25, put on the match, and then 18 seconds in, he twisted his ankle. Like it was absolutely horrendous of a tackle. Like it wasn't one of them ones where you're like, oh, he's done his hamstring, oh, his hamstrings are made of breadsticks. He was completely like taken out of it. Such like he planted his foot and his foot was jammed between your boys like 2 feet or like one of his feet, and it's hard to explain. But then he kicked the back of Evans' Achilles and calf, which really made him twist his whole ankle when he go to plant it. So it was horrible and it looked dreadful. And you get to see by like the squeals on Ferguson's face or like his face, and like even on that picture, Martin, you can see, can't you? You can just see that's a lad that doesn't look best pleased with what's just happened, and he tried to run it off for the first couple of minutes. Leon Bailey was warming up straight away, and Dopic was warming up straight away, and it looked like actually Bailey wasn't going to come on, but then Ferguson signaled to the bench, I think twice after the first 3 or 4 minutes that he was done. Like, but in fairness, actually, he actually could have been 1-on-one with the keeper clean through just before he came off if the pass was any good. But the pass was so far behind him, but like you could tell he was trying to run it off and he couldn't run it off, and it was bad. Like, but I think the positive, Martin, is because I was really worried that he'd done ligaments in his ankle badly or he had torn something that was going to rule him out for like it wasn't going to be like a 6 month, but I thought it could have been like one he could have been out maybe till the end of 2025, and that's where the fears really came. But when I seen the article there from stuff in Italy, I can't remember what someone sent to me, and it was said 2 weeks is what they presume it will be, possibly back for the last game for the international break, but I don't think that will be the case. And it's disappointing in a sense, and I know people are going to not like me saying, but I think it is somewhat positive in the sense that because if you actually watched the game live and you've seen what happened, you would have been fearing the worst, and you're thinking this lad's going to be out for quite a few months, like, and not really like thinking like I was never in my head watching that game last night or after. Like I literally, as soon as he went off the pitch, I just turned the TV off and I was thinking, oh, I am not watching anymore. This just put me in a bad mood. Like, so I was like, I'm not watching any of this. So I was thinking that he's going to be out for a while. It was completely out of my head for that he was going to be fit for the games in November. So it's not. I'm not surprised as such, but it always is disappointing, isn't it?
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I mean, look, he's an informed striker for us. His record's absolutely brilliant for Ireland. I mean, he's been a bit indifferent, as I said earlier. Portugal away, difficult game for him. I think it was going to be the same though for the home game. To be honest, with what we're expecting there, and do regular kind of viewers do catch up with our past episodes where we spoke about Sinclair Armstrong, and we've got a bit of stick about that, haven't we, Conor? Because we were kind of talk about Sinclair Armstrong being the option for the Portugal home game.
Yep.
And we put a clip up of that, and everyone went, "Oh, you two are getting well carried away." Talking up hyping up these players. One player who scored a goal, in about 40 odd appearances or wherever it would be. But our point on that, I think, was that we really needed Evan for the second game. It's really disappointing that he's out. And yeah, look, we just wish him the best of luck with his recovery. Of course, it's a frustrating thing for him. He's been in great form for Ireland anyway. And there has been speculation, of course, Roma, little kind of bits of news dripping out of there that they were looking to end the loan deal. I didn't really take too much notice of that, in all seriousness, but players are going to be moving. There's going to be lots of talk about obviously the transfer window opening in January again. So I'm glad it's not a 6 month thing, because that would have obviously massively impacted him. You could have seen him been kind of sent back from loan then to recover. But yeah, wish him all the best with the recovery,
Yeah,
of course. And yeah, go on.
yeah, starting just on the Sinclair Armstrong thing. It's not even a thing of what he's saying about. For me, it's not even a thing of keeping Evan fresh. It's just a thing
Mm.
of courses for
Oh,
courses, and people
different
need to
type of
understand
player.
in football. You need a different type of player for a different type of game. And reality is, if we were playing Armenia at home and then we were playing Andorra away in November, I probably wouldn't even have Sinclair in the squad because I don't think it's needed. But there's horses for courses, and I think actually the 2 games in November could suit him. But yeah, that's just all I'll say on that. But yeah, because the thing with Evan is it's just about making sure he's fit and flying. And like the problem is, I know people are saying, "Oh, 2 weeks, oh, it means he come back from the Hunger game, or he could even make the Portugal game." It's when he came back. I seen actually, I can't remember. Sorry, who the comment was, but someone was on the live show the other night with ourselves, Martin, and put in the comments that Gasparini had spoken to media and it was put in the papers
Mm.
that they were very disappointed with how Evan came back after the first international break, that he was in really bad physical condition. So obviously he played 170 minutes. He came off with 10 minutes to go against Armenia at home, and they must have thought he played way too many minutes. He was carrying an ankle lock coming into the camp, so obviously made it worse. So they will not be at all in the form, especially if he's only out for 2 weeks. They'll probably want to keep him there, let him build maybe his fitness back up slightly during the international break, and make sure he's 100% for them after that, because they will fear the worst if he went. I think they'd fear the worst if he went away with Ireland, because they'd probably fear he'll go and play 180 minutes in 2 games and he'll do his ankle again, or he's banjaxed. So like I think it's very unlikely we'll see him in November. Do you think the same?
Yeah, I think it'll be unlikely now, and that's the key thing. People talk about like players who, we're going to actually come on and talk about a player now who's not been available for every international camp for Ireland, of course, and another player suffering injuries. But you've got to realise the pressure under some of these players when they want to play for their countries. We know Josh Cullen, for example, played injured for Ireland. We know that Evan Ferguson did the same. So they're always carrying injuries, some of these lads, but the club obviously are reluctant to let them go sometimes, especially if they're a key player or they're just getting going. And they do have to think about their obviously club career as well, because there are players in their teams who don't play international football and don't take the call up for games, might not have the same international window as well. So you are in competition, especially. I always think that when players have moved after when they've just moved to a new club as well, you need to settle in. I'm thinking the likes of Finn Azaz has struggled to hit the heights of last season, but he's going to be going away, obviously international duty. But it's just sometimes it's a nice thing to have a bit of a refresher for them. But they're under pressure. They've got to perform for their clubs, because if they don't have their club form, then it doesn't naturally happen that they're going to be picked internationally as well. We are going to catch up with just a little roundup on injuries as well, because as we said, I believe I read last night a quick check-in ahead of the Ireland to Portugal in 15 days from breaking news from my very own David Dunn, who
Don't
nicked it
say
off someone
that.
else.
He dicked off Gavin Cooney. He
Yeah,
stole off. He sent it to our group chat. He sent it to our group chat yesterday. I used thinking this fella's going to make it out that he done this.
Oh,
He's going to pretend. And then I called
absolutely
him out. And
brilliant.
he was like, "No, I never said it was mine." But yeah,
Absolutely brilliant. But no, basically, yeah, Evan Ferguson and Matt Doherty both were taken off injured last night from their respective games. Robbie Brady, Will Smallburn, Jason Knight, Boston Llewellyn, and Sammie Szmodics are out already injured. And obviously, Jason Malumbi and Ryan Manning suspended for the first game against Portugal, which we'll be covering, of course. Regular viewers will know we'll be covering that from Slattery's pre-match on the Thursday, and then we're heading into the ground for a pre-match show. So make sure you do subscribe to the channel. Give us all the support you can. Love to meet a few of you around Slattery's in Beggars Bush just before the game. And all the build-up we'll have there, all the excitement, because, it'll be a huge game welcoming Portugal to Lansdowne Road. And we'll have it all covered pre-match and aftermath, of course, where you'll be able to tune in, catch up with Conor and Dave from inside the ground, where hopefully we'll be celebrating a fantastic result for Ireland that night. We are still optimistic, and then obviously we're heading off to Hungary a few days later to catch up with Ireland on our travels again as we take on Hungary in Budapest, the final game of that qualification campaign. So to make sure you get notifications of when all our shows are out, make sure you do subscribe to the channel and follow us on X and all Instagram and Facebook, of course. Dave's channel, Dave's page there, Lansdowne Road, of course, as well. We're going to just catch up now with some positive news, I think. We had a few players in action, obviously, in the Carabao Cup last night. And I'm going to throw you here now, because I know we've got some notes up on how we're doing it. But, yep, Brentford were in action. Fantastic result for Keith Andrews, Brentford again. And a goal.
Yeah, for Captain Collins is on his way to getting back to his best again, really. You'd say, wouldn't he? Kelleher got a well deserved rest, wasn't even in a squad, didn't have to travel to Grimsby. Probably his benefit. But yeah, they give per GSKB and Dara Burns were all playing for Grimsby, and they're what you'd say it's really been a historic cup run for them. What they've done,
Yeah.
beating Man United and then beating Sheffield Wednesday away from home. So yeah, it was bound they couldn't keep beating everyone. So, but they'll be proud of what they've done in the cup this year. And yeah, Brentford done what they done. They're just a professional job, 5-0. Expected, really expect them, and now they're on to they're into the quarter final. Man City away, isn't it? I believe, which is going to be a really, really tough task. But if Keith Andrews is, he'll probably do a million long throw ins and try and hurt them in set pieces. But fair play to Keith. He's mowing on nicely now at this stage, isn't he?
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, look, it's an opportunity for them. You know, a lot of people kind of writing off Keith Andrews, you know, dismissing him, as we know, another fellow manager now. Martin O'Neill was very dismissive of him, of course, but you know, fantastic what he has done. And you know, you're seeing clips and stuff. I think people are maybe getting a little bit carried away with all that, you know, showing the man management stuff. But I'm a big fan of that kind of visual kind of interaction that we're seeing. So I like it, but you know, as I've said as well, we need to calm down a little bit. He will have tough challenges ahead, and that'll be the true test of him. But it's all going well at the moment. Real opportunity, though. You know, sometimes name is on the trophy, and I'm not saying Man City will be dismissing that trophy, that cup competition, of course, because they've done very well in the past. But you do see sometimes teams kind of do treat it and dismiss it dismissively, I think. And Liverpool certainly did that last night, Conor. Really strange decisions on the selection, but
Yeah.
fantastic from an Ireland perspective, seeing Trent Conor-Doherty involved in that matchday squad.
Yeah, and he got more minutes. What he only played 5 minutes at the end, but you'll probably be slightly disappointed that he only got 5 minutes. But yeah,
Mm.
great time for Trent to get more minutes. He actually I watched it was basically he probably got about 9-10 minutes really in total, and he got on the ball a good few times, tried to make things happen. So he'd be quite positive with how he done when he came on. And yeah, it's really been coming for Trent, hasn't it? I know they swapped up heavily, didn't they? And they give a lot of young lads minutes and stuff. But like it's like he's had it coming. Like he came on last year against Plymouth in the FA Cup when they had really not it was I wouldn't say a full strength, but they had you'd say 85-90% of the star men playing. Like, and last night they really switched up completely. But yeah, it was great to see Trent get more minutes. It's kind of been coming. I do think he should be out on loan at this stage, which I think he did want in the summer, and Liverpool want as well. But I think it just wasn't. You need to get the right loan. You don't want to just send out on loan to the wrong league or to the wrong club that's not going to play to his strengths. So I'd imagine in January we'll see Trent head out on loan. And yeah, he done well when he came on last night, deserved the more minutes, and it was his competitive home debut. Obviously, he made his away competitive debut last year in the FA Cup, so hopefully it's the first of many appearances for him competitively at Anfield, because he's an excellent young player, and hopefully it's just the start.
Yeah, I mean, and this is our midweek roundup, just focusing obviously on the Irish players and stuff. But I will draw your attention to Lansdowne Raw Plus, which is for $4.99 a month. You can support the pod, support the future of the pod, and you get extra content on that on our channel as well. So exclusive for our subscribers on that.
Yeah,
And we are going to have a little bit of a deep dive on our State of Play show into that Liverpool and the Carabao Cup, of course, because we want to just be a little
yeah.
bit analytical of the recent troubles of
And
Liverpool.
what individual will we be talking about? What individual, which we'll get into his club in a minute, but what individual will we be talking about that people might want to hear us talk about?
What in on State of Play?
Yeah,
I don't know who.
Martin O'Neill.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
yes, you're
yeah,
right. Yeah, yeah. We will
yeah.
be having a good chat about Martin O'Neill. I was
And by
thinking
the
players
time,
there. You threw me.
yeah, yeah, and by the time this is up, actually, the team of the week that I do every week, Rep Checkers Irish Abroad team of the week, will be up on Raw Plus as well. So there'll be 2 videos up by the time you'll read this. So it's if you're bored because I'm sure most people watching are based in Ireland in the really bad weather conditions at the moment where you're stuck in the house, make sure you watch the two of them.
Yeah,
But
and yeah.
just the last thing before we forget, in the League Cup, Martin,
Mm,
Brian Barry Murphy heading on to the last 8 as well.
yeah,
A massive win for them away to Wrexham the other night.
yeah.
Actually,
Fantastic.
Joe Bagan got a lovely assist. He was excellent at full back. One of all the games I watched him is probably the best performance I've seen from him. He was brilliant, whipping in some absolute outstanding crosses. he looked brilliant. Callum Robinson wasn't involved. I don't know why, to be honest. I'm guessing he's just picked up a knock. I actually seen last night when the draw came out, Chelsea. Did you see his post with Chelsea eyes emojis? Because he scored 4 goals in the Premier League in his career, and all 4 came against Chelsea. 2 at West Brom. Actually, all 4 came at West Brom. 2 at the Hawthorns and 2 at Stamford Bridge. I remember during COVID he tore them up, and that's when we were all on the Callum Robinson hype train. Do you remember when he scored the hat-trick against Qatar and stuff? But yeah, it's like, I'm sure I've seen all, even it's been on over TikTok, all Chelsea fans making TikToks saying we're goosed here. I didn't realise Callum Robinson played for Cardiff, so they're all shitting themselves. But yeah, it's a good draw, and fair play to Brian Barry Murphy. He's doing an outstanding job with Cardiff, top of League One, into the last 8 of the League Cup, and beat their Welsh rivals Wrexham in the Cup to knock them out as well. So they're absolutely flying. So it's great to see another. That's 2 Irish managers heading into the last 8 of the League Cup. I don't know when is the last time I've ever, well, in my lifetime anyway, that we've had 2 Irish managers heading into the last 8 of the League Cup. Martin, could you remember any 2 at the
No,
same time?
no,
It's a
I
great thing to have, and like, it's 2 managers that are up and coming managers. It's not 2, you say, maybe established that are at their peak, that maybe they're managing Man United and Liverpool. They're doing it with 2 clubs that shouldn't really, or aren't expected to be where they are right now. So yeah, it's great to see what they're doing.
Yeah, I think Barry Murphy. I think you've forgotten something there though. He's achieved that at Cardiff without, having lost an absolutely key player, Conor. Went off to join Robbie Keane on the bandwagon there in Ferren Barros. So, Callum O'Dowda, fair play. He's doing all that in spite of that. So
he
got
scored.
to admire that.
He started again last night. He's I think it's the first time he started back-to-back games in the Hungarian league, which he'll be buzzing by, which will mean he'll naturally come back into the Ireland squad. Actually, with Manning out anyway, he probably would have been in it even with Manning was there. But yeah, it's good to see actually your favorite player in the world come back into the squad, Martin.
And just while you were saying there about Callum Robinson there, though, another Callum, my second favourite Callum. Do you think he could be a shout into contention now with Evan out? Is that a nonsense kind of thing? Well, we're talking about Sinclair Armstrong, and I know he offers different things.
No, but he's League One. People aren't, and he hasn't been playing really in recent weeks. So I'm guessing he's injured, but he hasn't tore it up in League One really as such. And the last camp was really the last one where he actually was playing well before it. So no, I think we'll go speak about it. We'll go into Johnny Kenny because there's quite a bit, but Johnny Kenny I think is another option as well. Obviously, of course, and he's been involved recently. But yeah, it's Callum Robinson's not in, and I think Robbie Keane mightn't be at Ferrum Forest much longer if Celtic manage to convince him. I know their fans are very, very anti him going there after Maccabi Tel Aviv period, but it's been linked by Ben Jacobs, who's one of the big boys in, you'd say, modern transfer guru news at the moment with Romano and stuff. So it's quite a reliable source. The Celtic are interested. And obviously Kieran McKenna, another Irishman that's been linked up, but I think he'll stay at Ipswich, to be honest with you. But yeah, it's interesting that Robbie Keane's been linked with the Celtic job, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. Yeah, I mean, we'll obviously be chatting about that on State of Play as well as we come on to record later on. But yeah, just on Johnny Kenny then, a bit more Irish focus on actual performances on the pitch. Johnny Kenny, yeah, look, he's doing his chances no harm, isn't he? 2 goals, fantastic.
Yeah, brilliant. Listen, Johnny's a superb player, unbelievable finisher. Any sniff he gets around the box, he'll take it. Has received a lot of flack from Celtic fans, which is always unjust. We all know, nothing against Celtic fans, because there's actually a lot of good Celtic fans that do stick by you, but it's always because there's such a big fan base, like 5% or 10% is still such a large number of people, particularly online, that can make their voices heard. And he's got a lot of unfair slack, like he did as well, like Liam Scales has done in the past. Even Liam Scales has been their player of the year so far, and he'd one bad game, and he was getting told he was the worst player in the world again. So yeah, Johnny Kenny's been superb. I honestly think he's been getting so much undeserved flack. He was brilliant at Rovers last season, tore it up in the league and in Europe, and he's under Martin O'Neill now. I've seen Celtic Symphony in the group chat saying that it's because of Martin O'Neill being in charge is why he scored the 2 goals. But listen, it's a game that you'd hope that Johnny Kenny is scoring. You're Falkirk at home, aren't your powerhouse Scottish side that you'd expect to go to Celtic and hold them against it in the 1-4-0. Like, but the 2 goals he got, first one was a nice rebound, put it past the keeper. The second one was a lovely header. So yeah, Johnny Kenny's really picking up steam now. He signed a new contract in the summer. he seems to be highly rated at the club anyway. It's more important he's rated by the club than he is by the fans, because he has so much talent. He's an unbelievable finisher, and everything else is getting better and better. You see him linking up well now, and he's very fast. Like, he can run the channels as well. So yeah, I think it's Johnny Kenny can only really get better from here. And no matter what happens in the future, I think Sligo Rovers will benefit off him as well, because even if he doesn't stay at Celtic in the long run, maybe if he leaves next summer or the summer after that, or moves on to even bigger and better things, so Sligo Rovers will obviously benefit a lot out of what Johnny Kenny's done, and I believe they will have done some over the appearances he's made over the last while as well. Anyway, so yeah, it's great to see Johnny Kenny doing well, and he is an option to come into the squad now with Evan out. In my opinion, it'll be between Johnny Kenny and Sinclair. I think the only other option would be Tom McCannon, but Tom McCannon he's just gone backwards, because I think his confidence is shot as well. He's another one that's lost all confidence. So yeah, I think, and I know Michael Obafemi actually played a couple of minutes the other night in the German Cup. What do you call it? The Polka, DFB Polka turn to beat a Bundesliga side. Actually, he played 10 minutes, so good to see him actually get minutes again. But yeah, I think it's quite a while before we'll see Obafemi. Maybe March might be see where even consider him again. But yeah, so I think it's between Kenny and Sinclair, and you couldn't really argue with either. Kenny scoring more goals, but it's just more different type of profiles of players. But yeah, it's great to see Johnny doing so well.
Yeah, and just down in Scotland, then Jamie McGrath, though, unfortunately, he missed a penalty, didn't he?
Yeah, sad. Probably the worst team to miss a penalty against at home to Rangers. I think it was the 89th minute penalty to equalise against them lot, as you would say, and he missed it. So yeah, not a good night for Jimmy McGrath. You'd feel bad for him when something like that happens, but it's football. Like, when you take penalties, you're bound to miss one as well. As what, like, Troy said last weekend, he scored 2, he missed a third. He felt a bit embarrassed by missing a penalty, but it's one of those things. It's like, when you take so many penalties, you're bound to miss one eventually. And it was just for Jamie. It was probably the worst possible team to miss a penalty against Rangers. Is probably, especially when you're an Irishman. I'm sure he got a bit of flack off the Rangers fans after that, or comments on social media. But what can you do? Like, it was a penalty. Like, it happens to all players.
And we also had a few minutes midweek just on our roundup here. Senan Mullen, Serie B debut. How did he get on?
Good to see. Yeah, he played. I think he played at left back for Mantova in Serie B on loan from Torino. He's had to wait a long time for his chance, because if you ever look at, even something simple, if you ever look at your phone, look at the size of squads in Italy and in teams in Serie A and Serie B, their squads are massive. It's in my opinion, it's way too big. It ends up giving, I think, sometimes lads in Serie A, like young lads coming through, false hope, because they can be on the bench for some games, and because there's another 11 or 12 people on the bench, I think that's what it is, or maybe 10 others on the bench. It's like, if you're 10th on the bench, you're very likely to ever come on, and lads can sit on the bench for a full season and never get a minute. Like, so so he's been on the bench really to start the season so far, and he got a chance last night, came in at left back. They were 1-0 up, and then he came off in the 63rd minute, actually, because he's more naturally been playing at like left centre half for Torino in their Primavera side, or just more naturally centre half. But he supposedly done well. They conceded, they drew 1-1 in the end, but luckily for Senan, the goal came when he actually was off the pitch, so he can take that for his you can say, a decent debut and his first real Italian football experience in playing men's football. I know he played a bit for Torino during pre-season, but he got his first real opportunity to start last night, and hopefully it's just a start for him, because he's a very talented player. And if you're playing regularly in Serie B, I'm sure he'll be knocking on the door to break into Jim Crawford's Ireland under 21 side, particularly when he's a left-footed centre half as well, because there's not many left-footed centre halves. I don't think there's any. There's not one in that squad at the moment. So yeah, there's a real place for him in that team.
And Andrew Omobamidele, easy for me to say, he had full 90 minutes. That's great to see, isn't it? Again, he's another one possibly with a late shout to be called up. He's got to be in there, is he?
You'd think so, wouldn't you? 3-0 win over Auxerre, or whatever you call them last night. I did German in school, so don't hit me if I say them wrong. Yeah, they won 3-0. So it was great to see, because I know it seemed to be at the moment with European football, Martin, that he would play the European game and then he'd come on off the bench in the league. And actually, I think because of red card the weekend, it probably means that he'll probably start. He started last night's League One game, and he'll probably start again the weekend, which would be back-to-back starts for, I don't know when was the last time Andrew Omobamidele started back-to-back games. So I'm really hopeful he'll start again the weekend and get through it injury-free. And I think Heimer Hallgrimsson will be left with another option to call him up. Can you leave a lad playing week in, week out? I know it's technically not week in, week out, but like consecutive games League On with Strasbourg, just looking here, Martin, they are 4th in the league, joint 3rd with Marseille, actually, so you can say 3rd. 2 points off PSG and 21 who are top, and a point off Monaco who are second. So they're like technically in a title race. Such they actually won. They nearly beat PSG away from home. They were 3-1 up, didn't they bottled a bit. And I know they were beating Leon, or they were 0-0 away to Leon last week, and I got the red card, which Leon went on and won the game from that. But yeah, it's great to see. We all know how good Omar Bamadeli is. He could be our best defender if he really got a regular run of former games together. I see there's no reason why he shouldn't be in the squad. I know you're talking about the likes of Egan, who's been a leader, and O'Shea, Collins, who your Givens in the squad, Jacob Ryan, another. I know he kind of plays right back sometimes for us. So it's hard to see where he exactly fits in. But I just think he has to probably made a place made for him, because he's just that good of a player. Like, do you sacrifice Egan? If Coleman's going to be in the squad with leadership, can he pick up the void that Egan's left? And like, I just don't know what he will do. But I just think maybe you take out an extra forward for Omar Bamadeli, but is that maybe overkill with centre halves? But I don't know. What would you, Martin? What would you do? Would you bring Obama if he plays 90 minutes again at the weekend? It's hard to see how you don't name him in the Ireland squad next Thursday.
Yeah, I think he has to be in there if he does that. And he's definitely one for the future, and we have to be thinking that way a little bit as well. I mean, Egan, absolutely brilliant. And maybe that's the point though. Like I know Jimmy Dunn got the call up last time, but is he? We are gonna. It's gonna be a bit funny how we adjust that squad. We've had we've ravaged in midfield, aren't we, with our injuries as well? So it may be a case of it does
as well. Sorry. Yeah, Liam Scales as well, sorry. But he's kind of that only left-footed centre-half option. But he hasn't played him since England away, so it's worrying. Did he play Luxembourg? Actually, maybe he might have played Luxembourg as well. I think he might have played Luxembourg that day. But, like, could he... But he's been really good for Celtic, and it kind of would seem a bit unjust to drop Liam Scales when he's done okay for Ireland, really. And he's done quite... And, like, he's never missed a camp. I know last time he had a family bereavement, which ruled him out. But, like... It is a really hard position, actually. I do feel bad for him. It's like, who do you pick? Like, do you just go with your tried and trusted and leave him with Bamadeli out? But it seems like you can't leave him out if he's playing every week in a top 5 league and with a very, very good side as well. Not just your average. Strasbourg would do very, very well in the Premier League. So it's interesting to see what he would do.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely knocking on the door. But again, from his perspective as well, I know he'll want to play because he'll want to be obviously playing for Ireland and trying to get in qualification for the World Cup. But, is he got to be looking at that? He's got to get a settled run in a team now, club football regularly, stay fit, and then I'm the man. Then I'm coming in there now, and you can't not pick me because I'm the most consistent performer. That's what he's got to be looking at. He can probably look at Collins' experience as well of how he's moved around clubs, and even Darragh O'Shea to some extent. Of this is what happens when you get regular football, when you establish yourself. So I think that's definitely one for me that way thinking. Another player though. In action last night and an assist. You may be amazed to hear this, but it was Gavin Bazunu with an amazing assist, but playing for the under-21s for Southampton. But an assist against Real Madrid.
Yeah, it was strange. Because I was usually going through the lineups, and obviously Romeo Akachukwu would have been starting, and he played. I don't know if he played 90 minutes because there was no like live feed, so I'm guessing he would have played the bulk of the minutes anyway. And then great to see actually Joe O'Brien with Marsh was back involved for the first time this season. He's been out injured and has been playing with the 21s before all the build-up games, so he'll probably come back in actually in November. But yeah, it was strange. And then I actually just noticed the top of the screen, number 1, Gavin Bazunu. I was thinking, oh God, what's he doing here? Like, and he actually supposedly played really well, like, because Real Madrid supposedly dominated the second half and he made a lot of very good saves. And then in the 93rd minute, they scored, and then I went to check after to see who scored. And then I just read it, and it was like, scored from Bazunu's header was saved, and he jumped. I tell you what, it was some header. He had some leaping up, and he smashed. It was a smashing header, and the keeper made a great save, and then your boy scored the rebound, so he'll claim the assist for that, which is a bit mad. Like, and it was great to see actually get the header, and a bit of maybe say good luck for Gavin, but it's kind of a worry at the same time. What is he doing playing with the 21s? I know it's really given minutes again, probably, but like, when does clubs really put their number 2 in with the 21s to get minutes? Like, is he been dropped to a number 3 now? Is that what they're going to do? Or are they going to take him out of the first team altogether? As he said it, like, I want to leave in January, so they're maybe thinking, oh yeah, we'll just put our number 3 as our number 2, and you can be the number 3 until January, and then we'll let you go then. but it's quite a strange situation that they let him actually play a lot, unless he demanded to play, which is possible. That he might have said, "I want to get minutes, I want to get a bit of fitness in the legs if I'm needed for Ireland to come on in November." Does he come up? But if the reality is, if it is a sort of case where it's that he's asked to leave and they're saying, "Okay, we'll let you leave in January, but you're going to be our number 3 until then," you'd worry. I wouldn't have him in the Ireland squad then, because if you're not even involved in match day squads as such, I know you're there for the. Actually, I don't know if you've seen the clip of Ben Foster talking about it with my Marco Bettinelli, the ex Chelsea keeper. I don't think he's still. He could be still at Chelsea as number 3. That's the worst thing about game time is you do your warm and stuff, and then before kick off, all the players go out. You are stuck in the dressing room, just you and the kit man whilst he's cleaning up, because you're not technically in the match day squad, or you're not in the squad. So it wouldn't be good to pick a lot, especially when Josh Keeley actually had such a good game last weekend for Luton. So yeah, I'd worry that he played last night because of maybe being the number 3 now. But we just wait and see. If he's on the bench at the weekend,
Yeah.
I would think maybe he just asked to play. But I don't know what you think of that.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully it's just minutes, and you could see that if I was him, I would be knocking on the door saying I need minutes, and I'm not going to get them. So it's basically reserve football in a sense, playing for the under-21s. I'm going to play. And, fair play, probably enjoyed it as well. Could be getting the assist as well. We will come on and just chat about a couple of more players, obviously a bit more high profile. And we'll obviously get on to chatting about the international scene as well, because the under-15s were in action. And obviously we had a fantastic night for the women the other night, getting the playoff win against Belgium. So that was fantastic to see. But let's just talk about it. Bit high profile this. We've seen lots of chat on social media especially, but Sammie Szmodics, it's been confirmed. He's out injured. He's just had an operation as well. We've got an image, haven't we, to flash up there. And a little bit of a statement in a sense. Oh,
sorry.
You took.
Go on.
And it's just from his Instagram account, I believe, and he just from Sammie Szmodics, official here. On the mend after a minor knee op. Thank you for all the supportive messages. Also, thank you for the keyboard warriors. It's you, Conor. No, keyboard warriors that know more about my life and my situation than I do. The last 2 weeks have been nothing shy of ridiculous. The amount of hate messages me and my family have received over the recent international football concerns. Injury comes with playing games, and rest is so important. Otherwise, things like this happen. Question my ability and performance, but never my professionalism. Looking to be back as soon as possible. And then he also has, I will be making no more comment on the matter. And the image in the background there for our audio listeners is of a knee strapped up, clearly post-operation. So
if you're on, if you're on, just sorry before you go again, Martin, just if you're actually on Spotify and you haven't realized, we do upload it as a video now. So if you want to turn on your phone, you can see the statement if you want to read it there yourself if you haven't seen it. But work away there, Martin.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fantastic he's come out with it. I mean, we've been very vocal on this in the kind of sense of it's been a high profile story for Irish football. A lot of fans have been disappointed in Sammie Szmodics, let's be honest, because we had that awful result in Yerevan, and he didn't travel there, and we've been struggling for struggling as well to qualify and get good results and things, and he keeps pulling out of squads, and then we see him playing for Ipswich like the next game. So this has kind of clarified the situation. I appreciate he's a fair play to the lad. I think he's engaging with fans. I would actually have reservations with that. I know he gets a lot of DMs and stuff. That's what he's obviously referring to. He has had some interaction, as we know, with some fans who are calling him out, and probably he's biting basically. I wouldn't go down a route. I think he should have just done what he's done now. I think I have a lot of respect for him coming out with that, and I have a lot of empathy for his situation, understanding it now that he is injured, been playing injured. He's got to look after his club career. 30 years old. He's promised a lot in an Ireland shirt. I was really looking forward to seeing him do it, but part of me is thinking, will we see him in an Ireland shirt again? I certainly hope so. I don't want him to be kind of feeling that he's not welcome to play for Ireland, and he certainly gets support of me if he does wear the green shirt again. I've got one right behind me here, Conor. But I think this is what I like to see though from players when it's all been lots of speculation, lots of shite talk, to be honest. And let's be honest, we've been talking about it as well on the live shows. People are a bit pissed off, wanting to know what's going on. At least we do know now. I wish him the best of luck, obviously, with recovery. And hopefully I do see him in Ireland shirt again. But, what's your thoughts on it? Because it is keyboard warrior stuff, isn't it? We've probably been charged with that. And people would probably think you've been very negative. You've been very negative. And I'm not backtracking on how we've covered it, but we're responding in a sense to People think
Yeah.
we know more sometimes than we actually do.
Yeah.
We've wished him all the best, and he's appreciated that,
Yeah.
hasn't he?
Yeah, because the thing is, like, we were wrong on it, like, so simple as that. But like,
Mm,
yeah, it is disappointing, like, to see him injured again. And like, the reality is, like, he got surgery, is on his knee. He done his knee last weekend, and like, it was even when I seen the quotes earlier, it was just typical of the way the story was worded. I don't even know if it was done intentionally, or it was like, Sammie Szmodics done his knee. He's likely to be back for after November international break. And I'm thinking, what fans are going to see that and think, oh, he's done it on purpose. He's faked in these surgeries so he can miss the Ireland games. But yeah, like, I do feel bad. Like, some of the texts, because I've heard and people have told me, people DMing him and trying to get in arguments with him on DMs about what's going on. It's like, just leave the lad alone. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, he's like, I even seen a comment, Martin, on RepChat or Instagram, where I put a post up to say about the surgery he'd got, and people were still commenting negative stuff. And then even when I put a post up to say he went off injured at the weekend, people were putting negative stuff. And then he put a comment on it himself, which was, I think, was a good way of handling it, because a lot of people then actually seen it got a lot of likes, and a lot of people came out in support of him, and it kind
mm,
of shut up to people that were just accusing him of faking injuries and stuff. The reality is, we know he was a bad ankle injury at the start of 2025, which he couldn't shake off. And he was getting what was it? He was getting injections every 2 to 3 weeks, and the way it fell, technically, it kind of fell during the international break and stuff. So it just fell at the wrong time, really, where he was getting injections over and over again. And you do feel bad when a lad, like, he did come to Dublin and he did play against Hungary, and he hasn't looked right. Like, we haven't seen the
mm.
Sammie Szmodics that was at Blackburn, or was at the first 3 or 4 games with Ipswich at all, really, in 2025, because reality is, we didn't know that he was still really carrying that ankle injury, which is good that we've got to see it now. But it is, a lot of players don't play at 100%, so you never really know who's at 100%, who's not. So at least we know now what the situation is, and we can move on. And I know he's 30, and we think, oh, maybe he might come out of the Ireland picture altogether now. But you would think, if he gets back to 100%, particularly that he's playing in the championship, that he would be able to get back scoring goals, and scoring the goals that he was doing in Black. Maybe he mightn't score what was nearly 30 goals when he first got that move to Ipswich, in his last season at Blackburn. But maybe if he can get back then this season, he scores between 10 goals would be a good start between now and the end of the season, whenever he gets back again. But yeah, I think it's been ridiculously over the top. Like, I can't, like, I don't understand why people are getting so angry over it. Like, and the reality is, some of the games people are giving out, like, he wouldn't have played against Portugal away. It wasn't a Sammie Szmodics sort of game. He might have played against Armenia at home. So it's just a sort of thing people need to settle down. And at least we know what's going on now, and we can move on. And when he gets him back to 100%, he can make himself available for Ireland again, because the reality is, his club plays wages and stuff, and maybe they're forcing him to get the injections during the international breaks, and he could be an awful lot of pain, like, day to day with his ankle, and pain playing football, and he needs to take the injections at some stage, and the club are saying, well, do it during the international break. So yeah, so hopefully we wish him the best, and hopefully he can get back to the Sammie Szmodics we seen at the start of Ipswich, and tearing it up with Blackburn very soon, because you don't magically become a bad player overnight, do you?
No, no, and I agree completely with that. And again, abuse is completely unnecessary. I mean, fair play to him. He's engaged, but you can imagine some Ireland footballers, they're probably above it in a sense. They just don't have any engagement with it. So, I'm not going to say to him, I don't know why you're bothering, but we've got to be sensible with this as well. How you approach this. If someone's DMs are open or whatever it is, and you're abusing them, like, they're soon just going to not engage with the fans. It's going to piss them off so much, or just think, why am I bothering? And
Um,
this stuff does all reflect poorly on Ireland fans ultimately. I've seen a lot of comments on this as well, saying, it's a minority, it's just a few idiots. You might not even be Ireland fans, but it's just a very small minority giving him abuse directly and abusing his family, completely unacceptable, as we know. We've seen that on other topics as well, of course, with Ireland. Thinking Robbie Keane, Claudine Keane come out defending him and things like that, and their family, the abuse they get. But it's never acceptable, and we don't want to just lose that kind of link that we have with our players and that accessibility as well. Because I've seen Sammie Szmodics at the team hotel, been fantastic with fans, having photos, signing autographs and stuff. And you don't want to do that. We don't want to go down that England route of where they're just barricaded away from everybody and don't engage and just are dismissive of the fans. Our Ireland team, what's special about us is that we need our supporters, and as supporters, we're willing to support the team through everything, and we can show our dismay, of
yeah,
course, and disappointment with results. But you know, and you do have the right to boo, of course, as well. I mean, that's a fairly
Yeah.
modern thing. I've never really done that myself, but you know, we just want to always be supportive of the lads. So yeah, I echo your comments there. We want him to recover
Just don't make
and
it
get
personal.
back soon. Yeah, don't
Just
make it
don't make it
personal. We don't
personal.
need to. It's football at the end of the
And
day, and
yeah.
you don't know what else is going on in his life, do you? You know what other
Yeah, and
struggles
actually,
people are
yeah,
having.
just on injuries as well before we wrap it up soon enough. Because I've been asked, actually, I've been getting a lot of messages because everyone knows that I'm the chief leader of the Boston Noel. I don't know if you'd say fan club or whatever you want to call it, just Boston Noel,
Fanboy club.
just fanboy club, whatever you want to call it. But it doesn't. We don't know yet, as of such, what his fitness situation is going to be. I know on the Gavin Cooney post, we would technically, I would say at the moment, we'd have to really think, oh God, he's going to be out for November. And the thing is, it's going to be very last minute if he does come back, because the reality is the squad is named next Thursday, which was confirmed yesterday. It'll be next Thursday, and if he doesn't play this week, this this Saturday, in their game, just checking who they're playing. I don't know if they play midweek next week as well, but if he doesn't play this weekend, like, you'd really think, oh, he's not going to play. They play Oxford next Tuesday, so maybe if he plays in that, either he could come back and come into the squad. But it's just hard to see at this stage, like, because the reality is he might, if he comes back this weekend, he could get, but he's not going to play 90 minutes in the three games, like, but he might get a couple of minutes. It'd be nice actually came back, actually see they're playing Bristol City on Saturday, so it would be a nice introduction if he went back in the centre half. It'd be a nice introduction playing against Sinclair Armstrong, wouldn't it? That would be a nice opponent to come up against. Actually, I've seen his manager say that if he was playing centre back and he had to play against Sinclair, he'd ring his mom before the game and come up with some reason that he cannot play against him because he's so scared of him. But yeah, so hopefully, maybe if he plays next Tuesday against Oxford, maybe he's an option, but it's just so hard to see at this stage, to be honest, because Stoke have been quite quiet on it. Like, I know Mark Robbins was asked, and he was like, oh, Boston will be ready when Boston's ready. So it's one of those ones like, oh, we'll never know when he's back, but it shouldn't be, it's not a long-term thing, but hopefully he's back soon.
But hopefully, yeah, he will be back soon. That's the thing as well. So, also, Conor, under 15s have been in action playing Spain. I mean, what a formidable opposition to take on, and how do we get on?
Yeah, the best nation in world football, I would say, in the last 15, 20 years. Yeah, wouldn't it be, Martin? They're just different. They're a different class above everyone else. And yeah, they lost 4-0 in both games, which is actually wasn't a great reflection on particularly today's game that was played this morning. They started slow because they had 2 goals in what was the first 5 minutes. They started really slow, and it's one of those games like, oh God, if you start slow here, you're going to get battered, and the things being got 2 early goals. And then Ireland grew in it really from you'd say maybe the 15th minute on, and then the second half, Ireland had at least 3 clear-cut chances where they could have scored, like they should have scored at least 2 goals, and then Spain got 2 more in the second half, where actually Ireland kind of had the more clear-cut chances. Spain were just more clinical. So in reality, it was that 2011 group probably makes you feel old, Martin, their first time playing for Ireland, and it was such a formidable opposition to come up against straight away. Like these Spanish lads, it's a completely different culture. The level of opposition they're not used to playing against. It'll be such a good learning experience for a lot of them lads. Like, and not, like I know some of them would have went abroad, maybe playing against like Man Cities and Arsenals and Liverpools in tournaments and stuff. But like sometimes with Spain, it's another level. And yeah, it was a great experience. Them really getting to play them 2 games, and they learn so much about themselves, what they need to work on. Because sometimes if you're the best player in Ireland or you're the best player in your League of Ireland team, your weakness don't get exposed, and they might have got exposed in the last couple of days, which it's great. It's a great learning curve for them lads, and like it's only just a start. And I know they don't really get. I'm sure they won't get too discouraged by the results because they know how they performed and they know where the positives they can take and negatives take, and think it's they're only kids. So yeah, it was a good learning experience, and hopefully the next opponents to take on aren't the level of Spain that they can maybe start an unbeaten run like on Ireland 15s tend to do.
Yeah, they need to have that experience, of course, and get confidence builders as well. And it's a fantastic opportunity as well for the Ireland coaches, isn't it? And management taking on these teams at that level. And one thing we often get accused of like being fanboys basically with the FAI and supporting them, but it's one thing that we do get right. And I know every association plays underage football, but it's very difficult now as well. We mentioned recently, Conor, they got rid of that cup competition, didn't they? What was it called? What was the cup they got rid of? The international one at the under 16s, was it?
Oh, the Victory Shield, yeah, one of my
The
favorite
Victory
tournaments.
Shield.
Yeah,
I mean, and that
yeah,
just shows you, like, that was an underage competition where the best nations, home nations in a sense, and Ireland were getting together and playing, and they've just gone away from that now. So it's very difficult to get quality opposition, and Ireland hopefully will get the benefit of that. These lads' experience playing under 15s against the likes of Spain will serve them well. But we must finish, of course, on a fantastic result the other night, Conor. None of us watched the game, so we're not going to blag this.
We
Just
watched the
seen the
highlights.
result.
You could say
We
we
watched the
watched the
highlights.
highlights.
Yeah, watched the highlights. But one thing I did see, to be honest, was, I mean, I was actually at Enfield Town. I was keeping an eye on, and that was a waste of my time, to be honest. But brilliant. I just want to say fair play to every Ireland fan who went out there, and I'd like to give particular praise to the Women's Supporters Club. Have kind of been established now, just around the time before the World Cup, I think it was, or just afterwards, and they've been really well represented at all these games. I've got friends of mine who are in it, and also from the London club as well, who travel around the world watching the Ireland women's team. And you know, we spoke about them before the game last week. We on one of our shows, the live show, I think we said. But you know, we just really want Irish football to do really well, especially the women's level, of course. And they have got a fantastic fan base behind them. It does make all the difference. But a fantastic result the other night. I mean, Abby Larkin, one of our youngest players who went to the World Cup, of course, getting that goal, coming off the bench, scoring that goal, fantastic. You know, amazing thing that we've seen in Irish football, I think. And you know, we need feel-good stories across the association and in Irish football. And for her to do that was amazing. It's really helped the qualification campaign chances now for 2027 World Cup as well. So I also just want to say the fair play to everyone who went out there traveling, because it was amazing. I've seen loads of videos and footage sent to me from people I know out there showing like Amber Barrett doing the kind of Norway clap thing, or whatever it was, the Icelandic clap. And you could just see the photos and what it means to them, and the work that goes into Irish football at the women's level behind the scenes. Fair play. I mean, Carla Ward, she's got a bit of stick, hasn't she, Conor, at times? You know, they've had some heavy defeats, but, you know, that's a great night for her, to be honest.
Massive, yeah. Against Belgium, obviously, are high-quality opposition, and they're promoted to League A, and from what all I've read and seen is massive for their World Cup qualifying. I think the next Nations League and World Cup qualifying is like tied in together, so it's probably it's the best way of qualifying for the World Cup for the next one. So they're in great stead heading into the next qualifications. In reality, is like the first leg they should have won a lot more comfortably. 4-2 was not a resemblance of the match overall, and you'd say they were the better team over the two legs. I think the second half the other day they really stepped it up, and Abby Larkin's finish was actually a lovely little dink over the keeper.
Yeah.
She actually messed up the first strike. If you've seen that, like she completely like missed the ball or like mishit it, and then a nice wee dink over the keeper. But yeah, it was a great. I was surprised at how many Irish fans turned out to Belgium. I didn't think there would have been that many, which was great to see, that loyal of a support. So fair play to everyone that travelled out, and yeah, it's great to see them doing well. Hopefully, as bad as the men's team have been, the women's team have put a smile on everyone's faces. For hopefully they can keep it up and not do what the men do, give us false hope. But yeah, it's great to see the women do so well, and Katie McCabe get 100 caps for Ireland. Like, she'll forever be remembered as an Ireland legend, in my opinion. Ireland's greatest ever women's player, I think, anyway. Particularly what she's achieved at club level, and obviously she probably the next step to her for becoming Ireland maybe great international player is getting that next level and qualifying for another tournament, because I think she's right on course to doing that. So fair play to Katie McCabe, 100 caps, well deserved.
Yeah, fantastic. And I do hope the FAI now, you know, I think missed opportunity in the wake of the World Cup as well. You know, Vera Pauw going, lots of controversy around the squad and all the off-field things as well. Obviously, serious allegations made with the women's game, and that all needs to be addressed the right way, of course. But it's a massive opportunity now. Build that fan base. I think they've really got to try and make Tala their home. For me, that would be my opinion, rather than worrying about trying to fill Lansdowne Road every game. Try and make it a formidable place to come. Get the fan base solidly behind them, but really kick on now and inspire young women and boys as well. Let's be honest, because the senior men aren't doing it at the moment. But you can have girls as heroes, of course. Katie McCabe is a name synonymous now with success in Irish football. So we need to inspire that young fan base to start playing football as well. So it's a massive, great story for Irish football. So we're going to leave it there, Conor. Thanks for your time this evening. Thanks for all your insight into these young players. Who've done fantastically well. Some sad news, obviously, with the injury loss, is especially Evan Ferguson out for 2 weeks, as we said, and obviously Sammie Szmodics. We wish them well with their recoveries. But we'll be catching up with you very soon on another Lansdowne Raw. But thanks for watching.